Episode 17, Puppet Theater in the Wind.
When the world begins to forget art, an ancient mission awakens once again. Welcome to the Sky Mender, Fragments of Artistic Space. More than 8,000 years ago, on the ancient land of China in the east, the universe cracked, and the abyss of nothingness devoured all things. In the midst of despair, goddess Nuwa radiated high-dimensional divine light, holding the five-colored stones that gathered the universe's primal emotions, and soared upward. When the five-colored stones touched the crack, they turned into a gorgeous stream of light, and the abyss was mended. She scattered the sparks of creation to the mortal realm, leaving behind hope and warmth for the world. After long ages, time flowed into a highly automated future. Humanity gradually lost its connection with art, and the numb collective subconscious birthed an absolute rational force called zero domain. Grayish-white cracks tore through the artistic cosmic spacetime. The sky that had once been mended collapsed again, and countless artistic essences turned into fragments, scattering to all corners of the river of time. In a cold and lifeless dark corner of the city, a high-dimensional light glowed quietly. Iona emerged with the compassionate echo of goddess Nuwa, cradling the spacetime blocks designed to collect shattered spacetime. Looking up at the ruined spiritual universe, she whispered, "Only by retrieving the scattered fragments of art and life's touching moments can we piece together the lost truth, goodness, and beauty." Grayish-white data covered the future streets of Taipei, and Taipei 101 in the rain was lost in the cold neon light. The youth Liu was just the most ordinary member of the city. When Iona passed the spacetime blocks into his hands, the long-dormant artistic memories flooded his heart, and the long-lost sense of reality was awakened. This time, we must mend the sky ourselves. Liu gripped the blocks tightly, embarking on a mending journey across 10,000 years of artistic civilization.
In the evening, the streets of Xiamending, Taipei, were shrouded in a deathly gray mist. In front of the open-air amphitheater outside the red building, the distance between people was invisibly widened. Pedestrians stood sluggishly like machines, with no warmth in their eyes. The entire square was as quiet as a huge sterile tomb. On the holographic advertising billboard of the amphitheater, the original touching and emotional dramatic color was completely wiped out by zero domain. Only cold binary codes and monotonous flowcharts were left that kept beating. People's eyes were empty in the noise, and the brain's ability to empathize was silently dying. Liu stood on the high overpass, covering his ears tightly with both hands, but he could not block the coldness and suffocation coming from the depths of his soul. The fluorescent blue on the edge of his short hair was extremely dim at this time. When he touched the iron railings with his fingertips, he could only feel the stinging and coldness as dry and hard as ice and snow. The zero-domain geometric grid that pursues ultimate efficiency is spreading crazily on the street corners of Xiamending. All the warm colors and emotional features are quickly wiped out, leaving only a dead gray plane. The eyes of pedestrians are numb and empty, and they begin to lose empathy with the characters, falling into a world of indifference and fear with nowhere to escape. At this moment, the spacetime blocks in Liu's backpack suddenly trembled violently. A layer of pure white frost and snow appeared on the surface of the blocks. The inner blocks erupted with a slow red-yellow fire, exuding the aroma of rosin and resisting geometric corrosion cracks. Iona's gentle shadow slowly condensed in the fog and frost. Her long silver hair was scattered, dotted with the shaman's golden totem carvings. She whispered in an ethereal voice, "Go there, before the final sympathetic connection is completely severed." The spacetime building block instantly erupted into a particle vortex of dazzling blue light, and Liu was forcefully sucked into the violent cracks of spacetime turbulence. His ears were filled with the sound of tearing codes and the roar of the blizzard, and he was pulled toward the unknown depths of time and space amidst dizziness and weightlessness. Liu landed in a strange Siberian coniferous forest. The snowflakes in the sky solidified and were formatted into gray-white pixel particles. The surface of the volcanic rock of the magnificent Southeast Asian temples and palaces was covered with a layer of dead gray ceramic paint, without any historical temperature or color of life. The exquisite shadow puppets that were originally engraved with mythological reliefs are now tightly locked inside the huge inorganic gray stone slab. The sacred carvings and warm colors of the shadow puppets have been completely flattened by zero domain, showing mud and messy lines like cold dead ashes. The geometric chains of the zero-domain order AI span the corridors of the palace, refracting the warm lights into cold white glare without blind spots. The geometric barriers continue to spread around, completely formatting the emotional memories of the ancient dynasty and the wild life temperature into nothingness. On the white stage in the center of the palace, there is a half-formatted memory puzzle that has been formatted by zero-domain. Rusty iron chisels, dried rosin, and a few modeled shadow puppet fragments are scattered on the stone altar. The white stage curtain is frozen into a cold and smooth gray stone slab. Liu closed his eyes and calmed down, gently stroking the rusty iron chisel and carving knife with his fingertips, and realized the wisdom and profound meaning of the minimalist blank space of shadow puppets. Only through the warm light can people see the truest self and soul in the illusory shadow. The moment his fingertips touched the wooden handle, a stinging pain like fire was sent back to Liu's heart. This is the extremely real emotional reverberation left behind by countless generations of shadow puppeteers and shamans who have carved their souls into wood and leather in the wind and snow for thousands of years. Liu wielded the iron chisel and accurately carved the shaman's antler symbol on the leather. The spacetime building blocks then unfolded into a mandala structure, bursting out a golden red tyndall light, shining directly on the gray stone slab. The silhouette of antlers perfectly meshed with the shadow of the divine monkey Hanuman, erupting with a thunderous roar. The gray ceramic paint surface cracked and peeled off, and the stone door slid open, releasing hot golden light mist and billowing heat waves. The moment he stepped into the door, Liu seemed to have entered a strange dimension intertwined with light and shadow. There was no gravity here. Countless translucent buffalo leather puppets and shaman antler totem carving boards slowly floated in the void. Under the refraction of the heat wave, they cast overlapping huge shadows. And in the very center of this core space, stood the embodiment of this fragment of art, the spiritual reverberation of the shadow puppet master, with a distant and ancient atmosphere. It was a light elf with an extremely flat body, existing only between the light and the white screen. His body showed mottled dark brown wood grain and the unique texture of translucent leather, and the joints were controlled by countless fine silk threads emitting a golden shimmer. His face had no facial features, only a rotating 8-pointed star pattern representing a shaman totem flashed on his forehead. Every time the elf danced its arms, ripples of color like water ripples appeared in the surrounding air. Those ancient mythical characters are vividly interpreted. The soul of the old puppeteer waved his arms, leading the monkey Hanuman to jump and dance wildly in front of the white stage, performing the magnificent epic of the monkey flying across the ocean and indomitably saving Queen Sita in Ramayana. The huge bronze gamelan instrument in midair was struck by invisible force to produce a crisp, long and metallic copper sound, inspiring colorful light waves. This sound is the soul breath of countless generations of creators who huddled together in the wind and snow to keep warm. Resonates strongly with Liu. At this moment, the Order AI of Zero Realm launched a devastating counterattack. Countless geometric chains composed of dead gray ceramic plates and cold white brushed metal bite fiercely, formatting the colorful light tied into cold gray and white. The geometric chains instantly locked the joint threads of the light and shadow elves, releasing a strong color-removing grid. The elves' bodies began to quickly turn gray and harden, and the flowing wood and leather textures shattered inch by inch, turning into cold gray plaster. Don't let this curtain fall. Before his arms were completely turned into gray plaster, the soul of the old puppeteer used his last strength to throw a rusty carving knife and a bunch of golden threads at Liu. Liu watched the elf scream in pain, and watched the lines of mythical totems around him disappear quickly under the erosion of gray codes. An unprecedented rage and sadness broke out deep in his heart, and he was determined not to allow this wild and soulful art to be completely formatted and obliterated by the zero domain. The gray pupils in Liu's eyes completely dissipated at this moment, replaced by streams of dark blue and red light rotating like vast nebulae. He rushed towards the gray grid of the zero domain, grabbed the carving knife and the thread. He no longer felt any fear or fatigue, his senses resonated perfectly with the world. He gasped for air, pointed the carving knife at the huge blank curtain in front of him, and used the edge flooding technique to carve and carve crazily on the white cloth. Light up the night with the flame of your soul. Liu's hands were red and swollen due to the high-intensity pulling, and his fingertips were pricked by wood thorns and leather edges. Blood flowed along the fingers and merged into the silk thread in his hand. The moment the blood came into contact with the silk thread, it immediately turned into a blooming ancestral flame, spreading crazily along the thread. The struggling, primitive and wild vitality lines of the Siberian shaman totem merged perfectly with the delicate carvings of the shadow puppets under the tip of the knife. A dazzling light track was pulled out on the light curtain, illuminating the entire huge ancient workshop. The percussion of gamelan instruments was pushed to the extreme symphony by the creative flow at this moment. The metallic copper sound reverberated in the hall like an overwhelming force, re-welding the spatial structure separated by the zero domain. The art that had gradually turned gray and hardened began to regain its luster. Gold and red sparks flew on the curtain, igniting the surrounding gray scale lines inch by inch. Liu's eyes were extremely focused. Manipulating the silhouette of Hanuman in the heavy snow, he roared towards the sky, completely dispelling the cold data. Liu made the last shadow puppet manipulation and inserted the bloodstained shaman's carving knife into the hole of the stone platform. In an instant, the eyes of the elf behind the white curtain burst out with starlight golden red light waves, and the remaining emotional memories of the entire civilization awakened in time and space like a torrent of bursting embankments. The gray ceramic paint peeled off inch by inch, and the world returned to life. The volcanic rock surface of the temple and palace once again showed roughness and warmth. The space-time building blocks vibrated violently and closed smoothly with a crisp click sound. The core of the building blocks lit up with the golden words "successfully recorded." The soul of the old puppeteer bowed to Liu, and then dissipated into countless golden particles. Iona's warm shadow slowly emerged in the air, with relief in her eyes, and whispered, "Well done, Liu. We have kept another glimmer of the soul." Time and space were reorganized, and blue light flow surrounded Liu. He opened his eyes, and he had returned to Ximending. A steady stream of rain fell on his face. The original strange silence of the amphitheater faded, and the actors and people on the holographic screen cried emotionally. In front of the MRT exit, the singer holding an acoustic guitar was surrounded by pedestrians who stopped to listen. Warm tears flashed in the eyes of a middle-aged couple. A young man walked up and put down a banknote and handed the singer a cup of hot black coffee. For the first time, Liu understood deeply, the reason why Northern Shamanic Totem art exists is not to control inanimate puppets, but to let future generations know, every rise and fall behind the curtain is a display of the hand of fate in the interweaving of light and shadow. The next piece of art fragment has awakened. It is the shaman pillar standing in the snowstorm, the bone bell carved from reindeer antlers, and the epic sound echoing on the ice field. Global Sky Menders, which civilization do you think the next piece of art comes from? A. Nordic Viking civilization, B. Northern Shaman civilization, C. Slavic mythology, D. Others. Your answers will be stored in the Douyin database of the Art and Civilization Library. Global Sky Menders mission. This mission, please leave a message to share your thoughts. If the world loses color, which color would you least want to lose? Every love is a flame of art, time and space. If you also hope that these civilizations will not be forgotten, please leave a love follow and share with your friends around you, so that more Sky Menders can participate in the task of repairing the next fragment of art, time and space.